Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to tell you a little bit something about how technical communication can contribute to the digital transformation of industrial companies. And before we start actually with the topic of the presentation, I would like to take you back to the year 1987. The older among us may remember this man. It's Gordon Gekko, a corporate radar from a motion picture back then. And one of the most remarkable quotes from this movie, in my eyes, is the following: "The most valuable commodity I know of is information." Why is that so interesting? It's not the fact that Gordon Gekko mentioned something everybody likely knows these days. It is the time when he said that, because it's more than 30 years back. Since more than 30 years, actually, we know and recognize that there is no more valuable asset than information. But I do not know if you agree. The way I see it, for the past 30 years, information has not been valued as an important commodity. Its importance has been steadily declining. And today, I would like to phrase it a little bit provocative here. Everyone expects any kind of information without being willing to provide anything in return. The fact that I have brought with me here is the decline of the newspapers in the US. According to the Newspapers Association of America, the print revenue of all US newspapers fell back below 1950 levels during the 2010s. And the sheer number of companies developing and distributing news has also declined. And why is that? It's very simple. Not even companies for which the asset information lies in the center of their business models are able to compensate for the lost sales in the traditional analog business through new and digital information offers. And this is indicated by that little blue line on the left-hand side. And that's actually a tragedy, I have to say. And also, in the majority of B2B companies, it looked similarly. Less dramatic, though, as in the newspaper industry, but nevertheless. I take an example from our own company. Until the end of the 80s, you had to buy a device from us to get the in-depth information found in a manual. And we earned money by selling these instruments. And then I have to say, some bloody bastard invented the internet, and things have become complicated. Providers suddenly had the idea of placing any kind of information in this new medium, and users had the expectation that it had to be available free of charge. This had two consequences in the last 30 years. Firstly, we all, at least all B2B companies, have lost money. And secondly, and not less important, we have all lost control over our own content. That ultimately led to a drastic decline in the value of information during the last decades. And at some point, people were not willing to pay to receive and use information at all. They even became mad when somebody dared to put a price tag on a piece of information. So, the objective is clear. We need to come back to a setup where people are willing to pay for information. And if we look at it in a broader perspective, there are only two currencies that we can and should accept. In the first case, similar to the US newspaper, in my previous example, we can take money for information. That would be the best solution, of course. In the second case, we might also get data in exchange for information, which is usually personal data about the user of our information. Perhaps the keywords marketing automation and gated content mean something to you in that context. The goal here is to know the user of our information better and to nurture him and her with future relevant information in a way that he or she buys something from us at the end of the journey. But one thing is sure, and it can't be repeated often enough: giving away information for nothing in return is the worst deal we can make. Therefore, we have to gate information, protect it, and find measures to make customers pay for it again. And in this presentation, I will focus on the first case: how do we get money for information? But however, as these cases are interrelated to some degree, I just thought it was important that we get a first look at the big picture. Now let's come back to the first case: money for information. First, we asked ourselves, where is the most valuable information that we can offer to our customers, and where does that sit? And which information would a customer be willing to pay for? And it's not a big surprise, it's still sitting in our technical documentation. The data sheets, the operating manuals, the safety instructions, and so on and so forth. But it's also clear that once you started giving things away for free, it's incredibly difficult, if not impossible, to get people to pay for them again. So in the end, we can't just put a price tag on our technical documentation and hope that this could become a sustainable business model. It's a little bit more difficult than that. But on the other hand, what costed us money in the past can also help us to regain money. So for some years now, there has been a mega trend that we can build on in the widest sense of the context with our idea of making information valuable again and selling it, and that's digitalization. Let's first look at the different kinds of digitalization. Here's a little bit something about my company. Since almost 70 years now, Endress+Hauser is a global leader in measurement and automation technology for process and laboratory applications. Our field instruments, solutions, and services are at home in many industries. Customers use them to gain valuable process knowledge from their application, and this enables them to improve their products, work economically, and at the same time protect people and the environment. For the majority of years, our business was mainly analog. It wasn't until the invention of the microprocessors that our sensors became smarter and our offerings became more digital. And it wasn't so long ago that we developed a complete ecosystem for the industrial Internet of Things with focus on asset utilization and management. So the Internet of Things is one initiative that we are currently working on. The industrial Internet of Things refers to interconnected sensors, instruments, and other devices networked together with computers, industrial applications including manufacturing and energy management. When industrial plants are built from scratch, it's relatively easy to develop a digital representation of the assets in a physical plant. However, this is rarely the case. In most cases, an existing plant must be digitalized in retrospect in order to take full advantage of IIoT. And there is another demand from our customers when it comes to the digitalization of industrial plants. It's the availability of digital twins. A digital twin, in simple terms, is a virtual representation that serves as a real-time digital counterpart of a physical object or process. Some people call the digital twin an information product, as it exists mainly by information. And this already rings, to a certain extent, a bell. Because that's where technical documentation comes into play, and that's where all B2B companies will be able to bring key benefits to their customers. No matter if you produce and sell coffee machines, craft tools, beamers, computer equipment, or any other product that requires some form of explanation. or in our case, a measuring instrument. The digital twin of our devices helps our customers to perform tasks in relation to that instrument faster, easier, error-free, and in a time-saving manner. To meet this customer requirement, we intend to use the contents of our technical documentation. Because our technical documentation contains already all the information our customers need to design, select, purchase, install, commission, operate, and repair our products. They contain safety instructions and warnings, as well as recommendations on replacement, decommissioning, and disposal. We thought, and we still think, that this is a great idea. But do you know what the problem is? And there's always a problem. Almost all technical content is literally locked up in paper or PDF. This may not be too much of a problem for many products out there, but for field instruments which can be installed in all areas of a plant, it should not be underestimated. An instruction manual of a field instrument can easily consist of several dozens of pages, even up to 150 or 200 pages. Going through them in total takes quite some time. And in many cases, it's not very useful, and in some cases it can even be annoying. I would like to take you with me how that might look like. This is something our customers call tank top time. It's the time they have to spend on a top of a tank to fix, repair, commission a measuring device. And I can tell you it can easily become a challenge if you constantly have to consult 80, 100 or even 200 pages of documentation. Even more so when the sun is not shining like in this picture, but when it looks like that. Therefore, in our new approach, additionally to paper and PDF, we want to provide an event-triggered and content-based access to our technical content. We aim to create additional customer benefits and contribute to the digital transformation of our customers' industrial companies with technical documentation. This approach will satisfy a great pain of our customers, I can tell you. In this way, we are creating a new incentive for our customers to pay again for information that previously obtained free of charge. At the same time, when we had that idea, the first customers approached us as they were thinking in the same direction. We've been told clearly that our customers are willing to pay money if we find ways to break up the way documentation is presented today and make it available in smaller units. The first approach goes in the direction of VDI 2770. Some of you may know that keyword, and please believe me, I don't want to offend anyone, but in my perception, VDI 2770 is like parachuting under the carpet when measured against the technical capabilities that we today have. Furthermore, the effort to get our documentation compliant to VDI 2770 is also not neglectable. That's why we listened to what our customers really expect from us in the future, and that's the base of our concept, not the currently existing minimum requirements. What are the requirements of our customers that we have to take into consideration in our concept? They expect relevant information to be available exactly where and when they are necessary. They expect to get information beyond print and PDF, and they expect their product that they are buying to be more communicative. And ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what content delivery does. So, what we think at Endress+Hauser, how technical communication needs to change due to digital transition, the devices on which information is received, there will be smartphones, there will be tablets, there will be smart glasses, you name it. It's the way information is delivered. It will be electronic, it will be much more granular, and it will be in different formats. It will be the way information is consumed. It will be consumed in a mobile way, it will be consumed case-oriented, it can be consumed in future under time pressure. And of course the types of information. We will go more topic-oriented, and we will have excerpts, and we will have content that builds on each other, so to speak. And last but not least, the requirements for the security of information. Because of course, somebody who uses that information needs to know how reliable is that information, how traceable is it, and where it's its origin. So, our targets of our content delivery concept. We have defined a number of targets we intend to reach. Some of them I have already elaborated on, others I have skipped for the sake of the focus. Still, I would like to list them all so you can imagine a little bit better how we approach the whole project. It's about preparing the contents of technical documentation in the digital world. The rigid technical documentation needs to be further developed into a more flexible, automated provision of technical information for individual use. Making this information available on all touch points is important. And at the end of the day, of course, the TechCom content management system also needs to be implemented in the existing IT landscape and linked intelligently to other systems and platforms so they can automatically exchange and provide information to the person in charge. Finally, the connection of TechCom CMS to other source systems to come to a single source approach where all data, mainly master data, are the only stored once, but with full access to other relevant applications. What we don't want to have in future is a copy and paste approach from one system into the other. So, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is our content delivery concept with its various components. On the right-hand side, you can see the future CMS is linked to our existing translation management system and will be fed by product master data. These contents will be sent to a distribution service platform, which splits up then the information into the actual content and its metadata. And the applications retrieve the content from the business data and integration hub via the appropriate metadata request. That's how it will work in brief. But let's have a closer look at the core application on the right-hand side, the content management system. I don't think I need to spend too much time in the actual concept as such, because I believe that this will differ from company to company, and so in anyhow you would have to make up your own concept to make it work. But what's definitely important is the content management system. For us, it was clear that our current content management system will not be able to handle all these requirements we have in the future. And I can tell you, I was a little bit surprised, I have to say, that when we looked around which CMS vendors are there, it was not the usual suspects that were the major players, I think also this industry comes into some kind of digital disruption. I would like to give you an idea where the parameters we defined to come to the ideal CMS in the vendor selection process. These parameters clearly differ from company to company, therefore I will not take too much time to copy them into your use case. Still, I would like to highlight 3 of the parameters which I think are of particular importance. The first parameter is actually not a project parameter. Naturally, the system will provide metadata and classification information. But believe me, this is of utmost importance because the system can only deliver what people have conceptually defined into it. One should not underestimate this effort to create such a metadata and classification concept, and ideally, of course, such a concept goes far beyond the boundaries of technical documentation. Secondly, and hardly any company would develop such a project on a greenfield site, therefore you have to have a look at how you integrate the content delivery system into the surrounding system architecture, system landscape, and to which systems a content delivery portal should be connected in which way. And lastly, the system should already be designed to meet certain standards that are out there, like, as I said, VDI 277T, IIRDS, DITA, and some others. And I can only tell you and recommend use common standards. Don't be scared of them. Even if your competitors has them also in use, it does not make sense to reinvent the wheel here. Technical standards are not a good battleground for gaining competitive advantages. Join the ones which are there. Okay, and if you're through with all that, and if you're happy with all that, and we were at some point in time, I think it's not a big surprise, but the system which was the most appropriate for us was, and it still is, the Empolis system. That's why I'm standing here, and that's why I'm sharing with you some thoughts. So, with Empolis, we have started the process and the way moving forward to implement the new system, to design it, to develop it, to interlink it. And we have now talked a lot about customer benefits, business goals, system requirements, and so on and so forth. We have highlighted that modularization, standardization, and automation are needed to be successful with content delivery. And I've saved one of the most important aspects for last. And I can tell you this is something we work on since 3 years, 4 years, long before we started to look at the systems. You really need good people in the TechCom community who are enthusiastic about this topic and have the desire to take their future into their own hands. You need to involve people early and explain to them what you and the company intend to do and why. You need to show them the benefits of this new setup and what it will bring to them. But you need to be honest about the fact that content delivery will tremendously change the way they work today. If you don't have the commitment and the buy-in of your technical writers, even the best system won't make your content delivery process a success. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention. Speak to you in the Q&A session. Thank you very much.